Welcome to Cricket World TV. Time for another hotspot with me, John Pennington, and Rob Johnston. Hello, Rob.
Hi, John.
And it's been, well, we've had a few weeks where we haven't had an awful lot of international cricket, but it really is sort of coming up thick and fast now. England, Pakistan, South Africa and India, Pakistan playing Zimbabwe recently, and a few other series getting underway as well. But we're going to focus on Pakistan taking on England in the United Arab Emirates. A three-test series gets underway next week. Rob, we've had a two-day tour game already, predictably enough, ending as a draw. Just give us your reflections on what sort of happened there.
Well, I think England will actually be quite happy with their workout. It was quite a solid game. They had batsmen who scored some runs, and they had a decent performance in the bowling department. Albeit, reports are that they dropped a few catches in the field, so they'll be disappointed with that. But I think a decent enough hit out. They played a side that I would probably expect to be the side they picked in the first Test match starting next week. So yeah, a good workout, but they've got obviously another two-day game to go, and they'll be looking perhaps to give a few more squad members a game and a run in that one.
Yeah, maybe let's just move on to that. What do you think England will look to get out of that final game? Will we see any changes to the lineup or combinations, do you think?
Well, Paul Farbrace, the assistant coach, has been in the press today and said that all 16 players are still in the hunt for selection in that first Test match. And I know he focused on someone like Alex Hales, who he said wasn't out of contention for that first spot, even though he didn't play in the first game. So I think they'll look to give the likes of Hales and James Taylor as well some game time, just to make sure they've got everyone acclimatised to obviously the heat, which is pretty oppressive out there, and the conditions. So I think they'll make some changes. I think the four players who didn't play in the first game will get a go, and they'll look then after that to pick their team and the balance of the team depending on who's in form and who's done well.
And this is it's always tough playing Pakistan. We know they're a very, very good side, although they don't play in Pakistan anymore. They really have made the UAE a home from home. I think they're unbeaten in Test series there, certainly since they started playing sort of post 2009. Just what makes it so tough for England coming up against Pakistan in these conditions?
Well, I think obviously Pakistan are very similar conditions to they have back home in Pakistan. So the pitches are very similar. They're used to playing in those conditions. But for touring teams who go there, I think the main difference is that the style of cricket and the pace of cricket is very different to that you would see, for example, in Australia or in England. So England obviously lost 3-0 last time they were in the UAE. Australia also lost the series there to Pakistan. And so the pace of the game is very different. You can't go out with the bat and crash bang wallop the ball everywhere. With the ball in hand, you have to be patient at times. Obviously, there's more spin involved. So I think it's a whole slower sort of type of cricket, and that's one that the Pakistan team are more used to, and that touring teams there have to adapt. So I think that will be England's big challenge. Can they recognise that perhaps for the first game that it might be a bit slow, that the scoring rates won't be very high, and then in the last 2 days, can they get an opportunity to change to sort of press home for victory? So the heat doesn't help. The pitches are low and obviously take turns. So it's a whole alien environment for touring teams, and one that Pakistan are quite.
Yeah, Rob, just having a few communication issues there, but we'll crack on regardless. And what we have seen in the UAE recently is some fantastic finishes, some last-day chases, both by Pakistan and one by Sri Lanka quite recently as well. So you're quite right that the pace is different, but it does sort of sometimes build to an interesting sort of crescendo. What about the Pakistan squad? They brought Shoaib Malik in. He's been in fantastic form in the ODIs against Zimbabwe and the limited over stuff. What do you make of where there, of course, Mohamed Hafiz is banned from bowling, no side edge at the moment, but they've got some top quality players, and they particularly the spin bowlers, and still lots of quality batsmen.
Yes, that's right. Yasir Shah has been, I think, the quickest Pakistan bowler to 50 Test wickets, and England traditionally don't play leg spin particularly well, so that'll be a real test for for the England batsmen. And I think Pakistan's bound Azhar Ali. They're conditioned to those types of environment that they're going to play on and the pitches that they're going to play on. So they're very, very strong. They tend to make big runs when they get in. And on the bowling side, it's going to be a trial by spin, and England are going to have to cope with that.
Let's turn our attentions to England's spinners then, Rob. Obviously, Adil Rashid in the squad. We're expecting to make his Test debut. Moeen Ali looks as if he's going to get the nod at the top of the order, perhaps, and bowl a few overs. Sami Patel, he's a sort of late addition to the squad, but could he put some pressure on those two to get into the side?
Well, I think that they're going to pick Rashid and Ali. I think they will be the two frontline spinners. Whether Patel gets a game as potentially a third spinner, maybe instead of Mark Wood as playing a third spinner instead of a third seamer, because obviously Ben Stokes will be playing at number 6, so they'll have that extra seam bowling option. That could be a way to go. But I think Ali and Rashid will play as the two frontline spinners. I think I mentioned in my article that I wrote about areas for England to improve that Graham Sarr in 2012 took 27 wickets between them. And I think Rashid and Ali will have to get somewhere near that if England are to win. But they've certainly got the capabilities, and I expect them to line up in that first Test.
And whoever they go for out of those three, whether they pick all three, pick two of them, it means they've got a long batting lineup, and that's quite important as well. But you've still got James Taylor on the fringes as well, so he'll be no doubt looking to put the guys under a little bit of pressure, and if he gets an opportunity, really cash in, because he certainly feels he's ready to make that step up and return to Test cricket with a bang, if you like.
Yes, absolutely, and I think Josh Buttler failed again in the first warm-up game. His form has been with the bat, particularly in Test cricket, very, very patchy all through the English summer. So there is the potential that Bairstow could keep wicket and Taylor could come into the middle order. But Taylor is a very good player of spin. He's in good form, and I think I can see him potentially getting at least a game somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I think I'd go along with that as well. And you mentioned your excellent article on areas for improvement for England, despite the fact that obviously they won the Ashes. Does that suggest that really Pakistan are maybe not comfortable runaway favourites, but certainly favourites to win this series?
Yes, I think so. I think they're favourites. The Pakistan side is a very experienced side, and as we said, with the talent they've got in that side. I think the key thing is that the first Test match is important. If England can compete in that Test match and get away with a draw or a win, that will set the series up nicely. But it's very hard to force the issue in the rest of the series if that's that first Test match.
And so just going to finish on one sort of. I know it's early, Rob, but a prediction for the series overall. Just conscious you're sort of dropping in and out a little bit there, so I hope I haven't sort of cut you off there. But just a very quick sort of early prediction for how this series might go.
Yeah, I think Pakistan will be they should win the series if they play to their capabilities. So I'll hedge my bets and go 2-1. But I can see England compete. And as I said, if they do well in that first Test match, who knows? But I'll go with Pakistan.
So Rob's going Pakistan to win 2-1. Yeah, I can see England winning a Test, so maybe I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic and say a 1-1 series draw. I mean, we know there won't be any rain around, but 1-1, one Test each for one draw, one for Pakistan, one for England. So that should be an interesting one. So Rob looks like he's dropped off for good there, having given us his predictions. So we'll take that as goodbye from Rob. But thank you very much for watching this on today. Apologies, we've had a few little technical issues getting the show on the road, and then Rob's connection not as good today, but great to hear from him as ever. England begin their second warm-up game shortly enough. Fringe players looking to force their way into the lines. Then it all gets underway on the 13th of October. Follow all the action on cricketworld.com, of course. Live scores, match reports, analysis. Myself and Rob will do further hotspots as the series goes on. But for now, thank you very much for watching us here on Cricket World TV, and goodbye for now.